time. It loves to feed, it loves my past. It's always taunting, but somehow out of grasp. Can you hear me? 'Cause I'm lost, and I may never come back again. And while my heart keeps holding on, I know I'll never be the same again. It talks to me, it holds my hand, it showers me with things I can't understand. It has no reason, it knows no time, it's constantly watching, so it's not left behind. Can you hear me? 'Cause I'm lost, and I may never come back again. And while my heart keeps holding on, I know I'll never be the same again. Can you hear me? 'Cause I'm lost, and I may never come back again. And while my heart keeps holding on, I know I'll never be the same again. You 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 know I'll never be the same again. Can you hear me? 'Cause I'm lost, and I may never come back again. And while my heart keeps holding on, I know I'll never be the same again. 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 I know I'll never be the same again.
Again.
What up, everyone? DJ Anubis
And CJ Neko.
here with you on the Metal Time Radio podcast, doing another episode of Global Unscripted, where we basically sit, talk about politics, social issues, internet drama, and all that is involved with that. We have a couple of special guests with us, Mr. and Mrs. Tony of the Dead. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
First time, actually, I think that I've actually got to booth you
We
both.
had the both. of the
Usually
Mr.
I'm
and
just
Mrs.
visiting Tony on his page, and they're usually together, and I just kind of harass them through chat. But today I get to have him here. But
right.
thanks again for being here. Should have some fun with this. A couple of topics we'll talk about today. One Tony brought it to my attention because you and I are familiar with the Whatever podcast with Brian and some of his guests, and the fact that he likes to usually pick on the OnlyFans girls and stuff like that to get on his channel. He's very ultra conservative. There are times that I kind of agree with Brian on certain things, but then there's a lot of times I think he's a dope.
And a little douchey.
Oh, he's a big douche.
Just a little.
One thing I remember like so specifically about him is he doesn't mind if a girl goes down on him, but he won't give
Yeah, he
head to a
won't go
girl.
down on them.
Yeah.
And then he wants like a virgin, but he'll have sex with
Right.
like 8,000 women.
We
like,
call that grooming.
Yeah, that's right. He wants to teach them
Yeah,
the proper
teach them.
way.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, but I have not watched this video yet. This is a more recent one where he's with his panel. Of course, he's with another kind of like douchey guy, Andrew, who is another hard conservative that's usually on there a lot, and they're talking about the pay gap.
He's the worst. Andrew
He's
is
pretty
the worst.
brutal. He's pretty brutal. You and I talked about some pay gap stuff not too long ago, which, at the time, the woman in that one, I kind of had problems with just because she wasn't very specific. But I kind of expect this is not going to go.
There's not going to be any.
These girls. The problem is a lot of the girls
specificity.
that he gets to debate with are just not top tier. Like,
No, they don't know how to fight back. They might believe in what they believe in, but when they talk to them about it, it's like they make them just sound so stupid.
yeah. And that's the other thing too, because like I think it's funny because Brian is so good at dishing shit out. But I've seen where these girls sometimes will like joke back, and he gets really offended. He's like,
Oh yeah, Oh yeah,
So
he
he's
can't
pretty
take-
soft when it comes to dealing with criticisms himself and jokes.
Yep.
But yeah, let's get into the first video. I think they're only about 11 minutes each or something like that. But if you need me to stop,
Yeah,
you
say
want to talk,
pause.
yeah, just tell me to pause it. We'll go.
I have lots of pause comments.
Mention the
Trust me.
patriarchy, so
Yeah.
why don't we go into that? What is the patriarchy?
The system of beliefs held by men who are, overly in
These poor
power,
girls.
to basically just set their standard of what society should be. Based off their beliefs of,
Oh, and they're
Are
such
they-
dicks
are- and are-
because they're staring her down. Like, I mean, they're like, anything else you'd like to say, dum dum?
Well,
Yeah.
the funny thing is the chick in the back behind the guys, like she was once one of these type of girls, and now she's almost like a fucking mascot. She's always back there, but
Yeah.
apparently her dad isn't even that proud of her either.
Oh really?
She's got
Mainly
body
because I
issues?
guess she admitted at one point she'd had sex with a few different men, to which daddy was not happy
Yeah,
about.
but I mean, she's an
Oh.
adult. She can have.
No, she is, but like I guess she was hiding a lot of stuff from her dad. Like,
So she's
See,
got
I don't
daddy.
know anything about her background. I know she was on the show. She was normal, and now looks like she's depressed as hell.
yeah, right.
look at
Bored.
Yeah.
Feel bad.
All right,
for
let's
her.
Are they
see
in
what
power because they're men?
I mean, sure, probably.
And so what percentage of men are in power?
A lot. I don't know. That's a very specific question.
But I mean, do you think it might have more to do with like their class or status than the fact that they have a
No, I think it usually starts with them having a. I think they will get ahead in life a lot easier if they're men.
I hate these leading questions. she keeps asking.
No. Men have it way hard. Men
Yeah.
actually have to work to become something. We're just here. Like, to be quite honest with you, we could get into clubs without
honey.
having to pay for shit. We could get bottle service without having to pay for anything.
Well, she has a little bit of a valid point, only in the sense that she mentioned like certain things, but it's almost like anything else. Like guys can get away with certain things, and girls can get away with certain things.
But if that's all she thinks she is, honey,
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they tried to like narrow it down to just that. But obviously, it's a lot more than that. There's a lot more nuance to
Oh,
it.
sure.
But can we get paid the same as
We
men?
do. If we didn't, that'd be an issue.
What are you
We
talking
do.
about? Women do
'Cause
not
at the end
make
of the
as
day,
much
if
as
a
men.
woman cannot do the exact same amount of work as a man, you can't expect that one to get paid
That
the
is
same.
bullshit.
If a woman construction
I've
worker and a man
done the
construction
man's
worker,
job,
we're
and I've done it
working
better.
right now together. The man is carrying 100 pounds of weight. The woman can only carry 50. Why the hell would that woman get paid the same?
Why? What about a
because
men?
I carried 100 pounds
Well,
of weight,
Yeah. Well, not only
but
that.
I got paid less than everyone in my department. There is
I
a
mean,
pay
as a
gap.
delivery guy myself, like they don't pay you on the basis of how much you can lift. They do ask you, can you lift at least 50 pounds? But
Yeah.
I know for a fact that if I go into work, there's certain routes I'm going to take because I look at the overflow, and if it's like jumbo boxes, like they're not giving that to a girl because they know they're not going to get it done.
Yeah, but you have to understand, like my old job, there is no choice. I'm out there, so I have to be able to do the job. I have to be able to lift
Right.
50 pounds. I have
And
to be
that
able
was again, but that's kind of like on the outside looking in. You were in a job where not many women will pursue that,
There was no other women.
right?
Me.
Mhm.
There was just me.
That's what I'm saying. No other women will pursue it.
Yeah.
So, but still, when we talk about the pay gap, having the only woman in your department be the lowest paid person in your department is a problem, even though I had been working there for 7 years.
How do you feel, Shayna, in your job? Do you feel like you get paid the same or you're worth there?
I work with all women.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's
Good
no
position
there's
there.
no males where I work at all. So I think it's pretty balanced
That's good.
in my situation.
I
least.
don't. I think you deserve more pay because of experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like there's some that, I mean, they don't all start off the same at her job, but like for what she's gone through and everything, and it's just, I think she should be paid a little more.
I think some of the
I
people
agree.
like coming in now are getting paid more than the people that have been there for years.
And that's what happened to me. You
Yeah.
know, I've been there for a very long time, and brand new people were coming in with no experience and making more money than me. They're all men. You know, I don't know if that even is something that the supervisors thought about, but I figured out when I was leaving my old job, I was literally paid the lowest in the department just by asking people what their pay was. And they didn't care because I had already given my notice. So they're like, yeah, I make this much an hour. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you have only been here a year and a half and you make $4 more an hour than me. And I have the experience and I've been with this company for 7 years. So, and you have zero experience. Like I'm training you and I'm making less money.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've seen that happen in places where I worked before too.
Yeah.
So when I came to my new company, I was elevated as, you know, a lead, and I was making a lot more than two people who followed me to my new company who were working at my old company, and they were pissed about it. And I'm like, guys, you have 2 years experience. You have 4 years experience. I have 8 years experience. I have the experience. That's how you make more money, is by moving to a different company. You know, you guys were making more money than me at the old company, but when they saw my resume, they're like,
Yeah.
and now like I'm supposed to be getting, fingers crossed for me, pray to whoever you're praying, Jabu or whoever.
Jabu.
Yeah, pray to Jabu, because I'm supposed to be getting some kind of big deal coming up in the next couple of months. And I hope I do, but I'm not holding my breath because I've been, you know,
Let down before.
Yeah, and I've been let down before, and guess who gets the big deal? A man. So I'm not saying it's coincidence. I'm not saying men always win, but I'm saying in my experience, I have trained dudes and they have become my supervisor. How? Yeah. Anyway, all right. Play again.
A man who's an executive and a woman who's an executive.
Is she putting in the same amount of work?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, let's be real here. If that woman is an executive and let's say she gets pregnant, should she deserve the same amount of money as the man that's actually still going to be at work?
Besides, you're at the mercy of the firm's argument, which is, if it were true that what you're saying is true, that women who are not in these construction jobs and this type of thing, but rather are in kind of comfy AC-related jobs like the men, and they're getting paid less than them, then why wouldn't a man create an entire firm of women and then destroy their competition because they're now paying their staff way less?
Yeah, why not?
Am I wrong that women get paid less than men? Because I don't think I am. I think that's pretty common
Yeah, but
knowledge.
if that is the case, right? So this is what I'm questioning is the basis for this case, right? If it were the case that were true,
which it is.
If it is, then why doesn't a woman even or a man just hire a firm of these women and pay them less than the firm that are hiring men, because they would make a killing with an all-woman staff?
You tell me.
Pause for this, because I was in a man's job. How are you going to get, 36 women who are going to do what I did? You're not going to.
No.
Well, I think one of the weakest arguments was from the black girl saying that, well, if a woman gets pregnant, is a man still gonna be at work? I'm like, that shouldn't even matter, because like a man can't get pregnant. So like,
no, but this is one of the guys that I work with. One of the guys that drives me crazy at work. He's a single dad.
Well, that's not really what I'm talking about, because she's kind of implying about the time.
She's talking about the time there. He puts in less hours than anybody else in the entire company.
Right.
So that's what she's trying to imply, that women who have kids are going to put in less time but there are men who are single dads who put in less time than the rest of the company, and he makes more.
Well, she specifically said pregnant though, so that's why.
She's talking about women with kids. That is the worst thing, because I don't have kids. And I've still experienced the pay gap. That's why I get so irritated about this, because what their excuse is always like, oh, women leave the, they leave the job market and they have kids, so they can't and I'm like, I don't have kids. I'm still experiencing the pay gap. Explain that to me. I have a college degree. I have lots of experience. Why am I still experiencing the pay gap? I'm not a bimbo like these women. Sorry, girls.
I wish I could have had an answer for that.
Right?
I wish I knew.
But that's what they always say. Like the reason why women are having such a pay gap is because they have children, and it affects their careers. And I'm like, but I didn't have kids, so I still am experiencing the pay gap. These other ladies who had children are experiencing the pay gap too. It's not just having children which makes you experience the pay gap. It's something is going on. I don't know if it's just like, oh, I'm in an unfortunate situation.
Why do you get a pay gap just because you have a kid? Like, wouldn't you just come back to work and have the same? That's what they say.
Like, women are coming, they've left work and they came back. So that's what explains the pay gap, is what they're saying.
Because they're gone for a couple months and everybody
That's
else all of a sudden made
explanation.
an extra $4 more.
Yeah, that is the experts' explanation, is that women, because they have children and they have responsibilities, they are experiencing the pay gap. Now, again, no children. I don't have children responsibilities, and I'm experiencing the pay gap.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a dude. I'm not making that decision. If I hired a firm full of women, you bet I would pay them just as much as I'm not going to pay them less. That seems backwards.
But you would think a man would, right?
Potentially. I mean, I don't know who's been paying us less. I don't think it's women.
Well, then if it's men, then why wouldn't a man just have a firm of all women and pay them less if they get the same amount of work out of them?
I mean, that's a question for a dude. I can't answer that.
Why couldn't you answer that?
Why wouldn't a man have a firm of all women and pay them less? I don't know.
I mean, because then they would destroy the competition. Who's paying the men more, right?
Okay, so I mean, why don't we see that then? If that's the case?
Because it's not the case that men are making more in those positions than women are. If it was the case that you could pay women less,
his argument is that he doesn't feel they're being paid less, and that if they were, why aren't companies using more women? Because they can get more work out of them for less money.
They're not using more women because, in my case, there's not enough women who have the specialty to handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, every place you're saying, it just drives me crazy. You're saying we're paying women less, so let's just hire a firm of nothing but women. What sense does that make? He's just trying to.
Oh, it's cheap labor. That's what he's getting at.
Yeah.
But he's trying to imply that there is no pay gap. That's his thing. He doesn't believe it, but he's challenging her on her stance that women are being paid less.
Yeah, so he's trying to do it to women who have no idea, who have very little experience.
But see, that's been part of the problem with Brian this entire time. Months ago, he was talking about not putting on all those OnlyFans girls and stuff because he felt like they were the amount of quality content was going down. So he was trying to get other women involved that weren't porn stars or OnlyFans chicks, but he still kind of goes back to that because they're more entertaining to the viewership. So,
I will go on there and I will tell him every single thing that has ever happened to me. One of the problems with women.
Well, he'll tell you why you're wrong. That's his problem.
He won't let you on though because you're too smart.
No, because I won't be wearing my bikini and I won't be oh, I'm so dumb. I can tell you what a lot of my problem is, just from personal reflection, is I go in to a job, I go in, I go hard, and I do things that are well above my pay grade. And that's one of my problems I'm dealing with right now. And a lot of women do that. And a lot of women don't demand the kind of respect and accolades and pay that men do. So I've got this idiot that I work with, and I know he's like several levels above me. And my boss is doing everything she can to elevate me so that I am at his level. So it's going to take a little bit of work, because when I came into this job, I was at a specific level because I was going to just be a technician like I've been for the last few years. But anyway, when I see like a guy who can, I don't know how he got this job, but men are so much more, I don't want to say charismatic, but like I would be more reserved if I was like interviewing for a job and they asked me questions about, oh, like, what is your XYZ experience? But it's been proven that men are more boisterous. Like, they will exaggerate. My experience is this, and it's proven because I've seen there have been men who they talk themselves up and women talk themselves down. And I think that's also a problem that women have.
Oh,
but at least I've seen just in my experience. And then we take on too much shit because that's what we do. We're caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
To do the same job, then why wouldn't you just make a firm and pay all of them way less for the same job?
So you're talking about the wage gap, right? So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us what your sense of the wage gap is? Because there's these numbers that get thrown around. Women make 77 cents on the dollar as compared to men. Is that what you're talking about when you say
Yeah.
the wage gap?
Yeah.
So what is the number that you think it is?
It's around that.
Like 80 cents
Something
on the dollar?
like that,
Nick,
and
can
then
you-
women of color make even less.
Yeah, Nick, we have something on that too. So two things, Nick. The pay scale website on the wage gap. And then there's also, so you just do Google pay scale, wage gap. And then also in the infographics folder, there is the, hold on. There's the wage folder. And in it, you mentioned women, you mentioned in women of color.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick, you're going to pull up just,
And
it's
he's annoying.
in the wage gap folder, the
And he's
Asian
preying
women.
on these
one.
dumb girls.
But it's not number 2. It's the one in the middle with the more straight lines. Do the Asian women first, then we'll do pay scale. Okay, so you mentioned women of color. Actually, Asian women out-earn white men. This is the median weekly earnings of full-time workers, white men versus Asian women. That's 2 minority categories.
In higher paying jobs.
That might only be in the United States.
Well, the only thing is like where is he getting the information from? Is this a site that can be trusted for, there's sometimes there's sites that are very biased. I don't know anything about this site, but
well, they never show where they get these from.
yeah, and
like-
see, that's problematic. Like whenever
Yeah.
you're trying to pull up data and research and stuff, like I can Google anything I want, but if I found a site that said, women are being vastly underpaid, well, Brian and Andrew would push back on that heavily.
Sure.
And you can manipulate statistics to your advantage. Like,
Well, you can. I mean, look, it could be a very valid site, but like as Tony said, like he doesn't give you any links to where to go to look at this yourself. I mean, I could look it up.
this
Meekland or
could be
Medley.
even more bullshit. Who just made it?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they could
Like,
make.
you could
Plus,
just like,
this
oh,
is
we gotta
4 years ago. How do we know that right now it's not opposite?
have it. Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know? Like it's not current data. And
That's what you're saying.
No.
let's also remind the audience, since they don't know, that Brian and Andrew don't really like women to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean they do, but they're very conservative. They're very traditional guys.
They like a woman that's gonna bow.
Yeah.
Submissive.
So
Trad wise.
submissive, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's their MO. They want the. That's why they don't usually find women that are just ordinary working women. They'll find these OnlyFans girls because they want to sit there and belittle them the entire time. And then when, like
That's
I said,
exactly what they're doing.
sometimes when girls fuck with them back, they get all upset and uppity about it. It's like, and then they blame the girls for being rude. And I'm like, you're the ones being an asshole to start the whole fucking thing.
I seriously would love to go on this podcast because they would not know what to do with me.
Oh, he would kick you out. Anytime
yeah.
someone has ever pushed back on him hard enough to like put him in his place,
Yep.
he'll kick you out.
Yeah.
And also,
That's
if
why I'm
you,
saying like
He'll be like,
Brian
"It's
is
my
the
show, my
biggest.
show."
if you do something on the side and he's talking,
Yep.
he'll get pissed off about it, and like we actually laugh about it sometimes because every little thing that happens, he gets so bent out of shape. We're like, look at him. But like, if you're doing something on the side and he's like, I'm talking here, what are you doing? Blah. But then later on, he'll be doing it to them, and
Yep.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what are you getting mad about? What are you worried about? They're just like so.
He is the biggest pussy ever.
Oh
for
my
a guy.
God!
He
Biggest.
can ditch it out, but he can't take it.
Oh yeah,
can't take
dude.
it.
One of my favorite moments is when adult star Molly Little, like he was doing the introductions and the girls were introducing themselves, and she's like, "Yeah, my name's Molly, and I'm a born again Christian." And he didn't find it funny. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I thought it was the best thing ever. And he was like all up to it, but I was like, "Yeah, you know, if you're not gonna take this seriously, you can just leave." And I'm like, and she's like,
Yeah,
you know, because but he doesn't mind doing that shit to them, like, you know, degrading them, belittling them because of what they do.
By the way,
yeah,
this is a dating podcast.
right.
Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Dating.
Yeah.
Like these are
Whatever.
typical first
Whatever.
date questions, you know.
Oh, yeah,
Do you believe in the patriarchy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's
are you
pretty
paid
bad.
more than your male co-hosts, cohorts? You know,
Yeah. It's like, what
Like-
does that have to do with dating?
there's
For
nothing
real.
to do with dating. It's their way of, they get these women on that can't defend themselves, and they'll never have a woman like Neko on because she speaks her mind and actually can fight back, and
They're
Even-
just making themselves look good.
yeah,
That's all
Yeah.
it is. They're making themselves
Oh,
look
of
good.
course.
Trying to
Yeah,
look good.
that's all they're trying to do.
Across
do
the
a-
board.
Am I white
Doing
men
a
is the-
doing a comparison to comparison. So my understanding of how this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They just take all the earnings of men, all the earnings of white men compared to all the earnings of Asian women. Now these are all full-time workers, mind you. Now the wage gap that you referenced earlier, that encompasses all the money that men bring in and all the money women bring in. So it could be making a comparison of a woman who has a part-time job as a barista, and part of that data is also comparing it to men who work on oil rigs who get hazard pay.
And then where are you guys pulling your stuff from?
Nick, you can pull up pay scale. Pay scale is a fairly, it's actually pretty,
Oh, there you go.
I think it's actually pretty left-leaning. It's a fairly reputable company. Can you scroll down, Nick? There should be like a circle chart. Scroll down. Okay. Can you scroll in on that one? You might even be able to right-click and I don't know if it's an image. The gender pay gap in 2024. So the uncontrolled gender pay gap, which is what you're talking about, women earn 83 cents for every $1 earned by
Where you're
men.
including like part-time and all that.
Well, this is where you're not factoring, you're not controlling for anything. So it's all the money that women make, all the money that men make.
Okay.
But it's not factoring in for the fact that, for example, all men collectively work more hours than women. They're more likely to work overtime. They're more likely to relocate. They're more likely to work hazard pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm sorry, buddy. Have you ever worked 84 hours in a week, you cocksucker? Because I have for months at a time.
I guarantee you, he's never.
No, that is what my hours were when I was sailing. 84 hours a week, 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
He's
Let
gonna
alone
call
you're
you.
gone for months. You're not
Yeah.
even like, you can't come home.
No, I was always gone like 3 to 4 months.
He would just say you're an outlier.
But you know, the thing is yes, I am an outlier, but I was still paid less than my male counterparts.
True.
So please explain that to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'm doing the work. You're telling women that we can't lift weights. We can't do this. We can't do what men do. Men are doing the more dangerous jobs. I'm doing a dangerous job. I'm lifting heavy things. I'm doing something, but yet I'm still paid less. Please make it make sense. That is what I want someone to answer to me, because the whole thing is like, men do these jobs where they get hazard pay, they're linemen, they are electricians, they're this, they're that. Okay, I did that job and I still made less money. Make it make sense to me. I don't understand how I was the one who made the less money and I just happened to be a woman. Is it coincidence, or is it because I'm a woman? I don't know. So every time they throw these things out that men take these jobs that are more dangerous, men take these jobs that are like on oil, et cetera, et cetera. I did that job for 6 years. I worked 84 hours a week. Please tell me why I'm still making less per hour than men. But there's no answer.
And you're doing the same stuff. You're lifting the
Exact same job,
exact
right.
stuff. That doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
We'll
And
back
if
up
they
real quick.
hired you, they hire you to do it. I don't get it. If you're not doing anything different, like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, it just says it's just
If it's a
not fair.
different department and be like, oh, well, you know, they get paid, this one gets paid more because they go underwater, you know, or something, and you're like, you know,
Same
it's
department.
the same. It doesn't make sense.
They were hiring people without experience making more per hour than I had. Again, this is just my experience. I am not saying this is everybody, but every time I hear these arguments about, like, you know, the wage gap is because women have kids and they leave the workforce, number one. Number two, women are not willing to take on dangerous jobs like construction, electricians, linemen, sailors, etc. I did that. I don't have children. I didn't leave the workforce. Why? Tell me. Oh, I just hit myself in the face. Tell me why.
That's
Like,
why.
That's why.
Because you beat yourself up.
With that, and it just makes me wonder why. Like,
I'm sorry, Nego. Do you need more training?
I must.
I
That
had a sore spot.
you did.
Oh.
We're not gonna go. We're not going down that road. We're gonna.
All right, let's get back to this.
The controlled gender pay gap. So this measures median salary for men
I
and
could
women
tell
with the
this story.
same job and qualifications.
All men and all women.
All men, well, it's same job, same qualifications.
Okay.
So if you actually control for each of these things and you start removing these variances like hours worked, different job field, different choices, it shrinks down to 99 cents.
It's still below.
Right, but it's, I mean, it's still,
You make a penny less than a man? Man, that's rough.
penny
But
over
let me,
time.
well, let me ask you this, just out of curiosity. I always wondered this question. Even if it were true that men who owned firms of some type or another did hire women at a lesser wage than they hired men, who the fuck cares? Why is that even a problem? If they're just like,
Because
I
I'm
just
doing
don't
the
want
same
these
job
fucking
as you,
women make as much
motherfucker.
as the men that I hire.
Yeah, like,
Why is that actually a problem?
I mean, it's a moral problem.
What is the moral problem?
I mean, that dude's like a piece of shit.
Why? Why would it make him a piece of shit?
Because he doesn't value women as much as he values men.
He doesn't value their labor as much.
But if it's the same labor,
Even if it's the same labor, he just doesn't value it as much.
well, then I think that says something about how he
That's a problem, though, dude. This guy's a fucking dick.
Right.
yeah, it's like
Yeah. He don't get it.
if he were in that situation, getting paid less or something.
Right? Like it's
You know what I
like,
mean?
yeah,
Like, he's
dude.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. Like it is a problem because it's called discrimination. You stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they made these laws years ago, like before
Yeah.
the 90s. Like the 90s was when the big the Ledbetter laws came out, but I'm talking like back in the 60s they made the equal pay law. So
Yeah.
we're still like fighting for that.
Yeah.
Well, he isn't. I mean, he might elaborate on it here in a minute, but like he's not really winning this particular argument. Like, why is it a problem? Well, it's a problem because it's discrimination. If you got people doing the same amount of work and you're paying someone a lot less, and she happens to be a different sex, that's a problem.
But he's saying
Yeah.
he's hiring all women. So
He's
it's
saying,
not
who cares?
discrimination.
What's the problem? What's
Yeah.
wrong with that? You don't
Such an
see a
asshole.
problem with that? Like, you don't see
He hates women.
Yes.
Clearly.
He just does. Like he just does not
Maybe
like
he's just
women.
gay. I bet that will go over well.
Don't
He's just-
I have a whole thing about that.
maybe him and Brian are just kind of doing
That's
their
it.
thing together.
They're
I think it. I don't want to get into it right now, but there's a whole thing I have with Brian and Andrew and all the Christian men that come on this show. And
He would never have me on there because I would be busting on Christianity so hard, like he would lose. I would just
you're too
destroy the
smart
fucking
to be
earth.
on the show. You can't. Plus you're married and you like your wife. I mean, I don't. I'm sure
I like women. Yeah, God forbid I like women.
you bastard.
Oh Jesus! Shame on me.
Yeah, you have some respect for women.
Like Andrew's married, but like his wife is just like him, and I don't know if it's like I don't know. I feel like that's the only woman in the world that would marry him because she feels so little about herself too. Plus, her background's fucked. I think it was the only woman that would like deal with him. He doesn't even think she's a 10.
Well,
She's a
maybe
six.
maybe
a
maybe
six.
he groomed her. These guys like those chicks. They're young. They want to be grooming that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
And maybe
gotta get them
maybe she
virgins.
looks at him as a bad boy.
They
He's
want
a
those
prick. I like
submissive
that.
wives.
Values women.
Yeah, but how would it actually be immoral? Like, why would it be immoral, for instance, if you owned a business, you said, right? Why would it actually be immoral for you to be like, I just don't want to fucking hire men at all. I just don't want to even fucking hire them because I don't like their faces. Why would that even be actually immoral or problematic?
I think it's problematic because you're not considering different perspectives that can contribute to the work that you're doing.
But it's yours. Why do you need to consider other perspectives? Like, fuck the other perspective. It's your shit, right? Like, if you found a business, right, and you built it up for 10 years and you're going to start hiring people, and you're like, I don't fucking like women. I just don't like them. I don't like them. So I'm not going to hire any.
Somebody clip
I
that.
was thinking
I
about
was
this,
gonna
and I was
say,
trying to figure
said
out what's actually immoral about that.
I mean, I guess I just think it speaks to like.
keep in mind, this is a
person's
Christian
value.
dude saying this shit. This is a Christian guy saying this shit. Like the guy wants to talk about morals, but has none. Like
Well,
none.
in Christianity, the wife is submissive, so
Well, yeah, and that's why he wants like a stool. Like we're back in the fucking 50s. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I say it all the time. That he's living in a different time.
Yeah.
The time or whatever.
Yeah, and these guys love that era. Like they want to go back to that shit. Like fuck them, dude. Idiots.
Yep.
Is essentially like that they don't.
I hate
John
that
Smith
noise.
donated $200.
Hey, John, thank you, man.
The reason these feminists and angry women are so upset is because they don't have a man to tell them to calm down and relax.
Are you gonna do it, John Smith?
Thank
Calm
you, John
down.
Smith.
Calm down.
Single
Relax.
virgin.
God.
Relax.
I think I just came.
What the
Oh
fuck?
my God.
Oh my God.
But anyway.
What the?
Yeah, so I was just wondering if you could elucidate me why you would actually think that was immoral. I get that you
Well,
wouldn't
because
like it.
you're saying I don't like women. I don't want like that's such a like I don't think that's like good moral standards to just like it kind of relates to all the shit that we've been talking about with her and how she wants to hurt men and shit, right? Like it doesn't feel so far away from that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not, but let us assume that a man goes, a woman's labor, right? It's worth as much as a man's. And insofar as the labor she actually does and the labor he's actually doing, it's about the same. But they just cause so many fucking problems, right? They cause all sorts of issues. They complain a lot. They're always at the HR department because they got too flirty with a guy at work. They're just
Really?
a pain.
that is bullshit.
That is bullshit.
Where the hell's
Where's
that?
he like
Every
pulling this
job?
stuff out of his ass? Like
What is
The
that?
shit that I dealt with on these ships was sexual harassment, and people never took it seriously. Not so much with me, but me saying things that I saw about the younger girls being sexually harassed. And these women, most of the time, did not go to HR because when you're a complainer, you don't get more jobs.
Keep in mind, these are the same dudes that will go into a different podcast and they're like, guys are getting falsely accused of this and this and this. And I'm like, sure, that might happen occasionally, but that's not like the norm. Like
No.
guys behave very inappropriately a lot of times with women at work. That's just fact. These guys are fucking lying to their teeth if they don't think so. And so it's kind of disappointing, or I can't even say disappointing, because I mean, this is expected from these two guys that they would say this kind of crap. But automatically he's like, yeah, well, the women are complaining, they're doing this, and this. I'm like, well, maybe it's because you're doing things you shouldn't be doing at work, like, I don't know, grabbing their ass, hitting on them when you're not supposed to be. It's a professional area. But Andrew doesn't want to talk about all that. He wants to say, oh yeah, guys don't do that. Get out of here, man.
No,
you're fucking
and he's making this sound like every job women, all they do is complain.
He's just
right.
stereotyping women,
It's like
a big stereotype, like women complain and women flirt. It's like not everybody does that. Like not every woman does that. Exactly. I don't do that at work. Like
I can tell you, working with nothing but men, they are bigger complainers.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while.
All they do is go back to the supervisors and whine. I'm not going to work with this person. I don't like this person. And I never complain, because the more you complain means the less opportunity that you have. So I was always very like, okay. And I did have a talk with my supervisor about the sexual harassment that I witnessed on the ship. And now it's gotten to the point, I'm not even at that company anymore, but they had to install cameras outside of the female cadets' rooms because there was so much sexual harassment. So it is a problem. But I never really, like, I just mentioned it and they told me, okay, if anybody does that to you, and I'm like, no, it's just something I witnessed, blah, blah, blah. But these men, all they did was complain about each other. I don't like this guy. I don't like that guy.
And some of these guys, like she would tell me, even if they were polite and nice to her, these are guys that would go out on these boats and have affairs with women on other continents.
In other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, we're talking like certain behaviors here with men compared to women, when they do stuff like this. It's just kind of funny that he's trying to pin this on women being inappropriate or, complaining and all that other stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Fucking ass to deal with. They're just a pain in the ass. And if I have an all-male workforce, I don't have to deal with any of those fucking problems.
But
that seems like it's a really justified and reasoned reason.
Are you saying that all women are like that and that women are just causing problems in the workplace? Because I don't think that I've ever been like that in the workplace.
Most women aren't like that.
Okay.
But I'm going to assume that there's enough of them that are, that you're still gambling. And that if it's even 20%, I can understand the rationale and could not say it was immoral for a person to be like, yeah, I don't want to fucking deal with all that. I literally just don't want to deal with it.
To not hire them.
Yeah, to just not hire them.
Yeah.
To just be like,
I have my own business. I don't plan on hiring anybody. I like just working for myself. But I could see that if someone was like, oh, I just don't want to hire them, I don't think that that's an issue. But if it was like, oh, I'm going to hire them, they're doing the same work, but I'm paying them less because I think that they're doing more complaints. Like, I don't know. I think that... I lost my train of thought, but I just don't think that like all women are just inherently like gonna cause problems or like these complaints.
Totally
that's why I wanted to make
100%
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
But let's say it's 10%, which is a lot. That's a lot. So
Can you just
it was 100% at my job with the men,
right?
Bitching. And
that's what I'm saying. It's like he doesn't want to talk about the men being a problem. He doesn't think men are a problem, but they are.
Yeah.
Like it's not even a question.
100%. One guy that I worked with I actually really liked him, but they kind of thought he was gonna be a shooter. I'm not joking. Like they were assholes to him, and they're like, this dude's gonna be a fucking shooter. And I'm like, I think he's nice. He's, he's a little quirky. He's young. He's kind of hipster, but like, so he was out on a job with some older men who, they're gruff, they're older, and
manly men.
Yeah, manly men. But he's like in his early 30s. These guys are in their late 50s, and they got into an argument over music. And after that happened, the younger guy actually asked the other dudes, hey, let's go out on the deck and talk. And he just like kind of wanted to talk it out, like to be nice.
Mhm.
And then the older dudes went back to the supervisor and said, I'm never working with this hipster ever again.
Over music.
Over music.
That is
Not that he
you can
sucked at the job or anything, just music.
Like nothing to do with the job.
You know what?
And, I mean, like,
maybe that guy's lucky that they don't want to work with him too.
Well, he actually, honestly, I love this guy, and I haven't talked to him in a couple of months, but he quit like right after I did and went back to college for his master's degree, and he's doing great because he wanted to get into nursing because his grandmother was really sick, and he wanted to be able to help her and help other people. And you know, he was a cable splicer like me, but then he's like, you know, my grandmom's really sick and she broke her hip, and going back to school, getting my master's degree, that's what I want to do. I don't think that's a bad dude. Like, but these older, like more, I hate saying boomer type dudes because they're not really boomers, but like gruff, roughneck kind of guys, were treating him like shit because he's softer, but he was out there doing the same shit as them. And then after like they had an argument over the music, he was just trying to like relate with them and be like, guys, listen, it's not that big of a deal. We don't need to fight over music in the shop. And the dudes went back to the supervisors over this guy and said, I will never work with this guy ever again over music being played in the shop.
Can I ask what music it was?
I don't even know. It wasn't like anything like, you know, gangster rap, you know, raping women type music. I'm sure it was some other hipster type music that he liked.
Yeah.
But these are guys who are like 25 years older than him, and they probably didn't like the music, and they thought that he was trying to like force them to listen to something that was not, you know.
Music's supposed to bring people together. You know, what the
Right?
hell? Even if you don't like it, I'd be like, I don't really like this, but I could at least ignore it if I like. Like, I'm not a big country fan, but if somebody has it on, I could like at least ignore it.
If I don't know, if I'm on a ship and someone plays country music, I'm probably jumping overboard.
It's you know, I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother recently, and you know how, like, I don't know if you guys ever saw it, like Marshall had a car and there was a tape stuck in the tape deck, and it played you know, I will walk 500, and that's the only song because he couldn't get the tape out of there. And I'm like, you know, I think sometimes listening to that versus nothing is probably better. And I get it, like when you're out there on the ship, it's like hard. You're away from your family. You're working 84 hours a week. Like I said, it gets a little crazy. So people get a little shitty with each other. But
yeah,
I'm telling you, in my experience, these dudes are talking about how women are catty and bitchy and mean. Yes, I've seen that. But switching to a male-dominated job for 5 years, 5.5 years, 6 years almost, I've seen the men be worse than the women. Yeah. I will stand by that. That will be the hill that I die on, that men are bigger babies than women are. I'm sorry.
Well, I could play devil's advocate in a way. Like, I agree, you know, but I don't think every place that have the majority of women working she's going to complain about her. And when I worked, I was the only guy in dietary, and I worked with all women. And I got along with everybody. You know, I was kind of like the mutual guy. I had ones that like I hung out with more than others, and they had their cliques. And there was not a day that went by that this one complained about this one, and I don't want to work in this room with her. It was constantly. I even got complaints about myself once in a while.
See, the funny thing is,
turn it around.
A lot of times, women will complain about other women more than they will men.
That's true.
You kind of look at like the WNBA, man. Like, they have Caitlin Clark, who is bringing all this attention to the league, yet they hate her. They can't like accept the fact that she's like a popular person, no matter if she's good or bad. It's like, you have somebody who's bringing attention to your league, and you're like trying to push her out, or say nasty things about it because you're jealous or whatever.
But do you think it is jealousy?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, if Caitlyn was black, they wouldn't give a shit. Like people are using the color of her skin as against her because she happens to be white, and it's unfortunate. Like, because she's a good player, rookie. It's not saying she's a Hall of Famer yet. But...
Yeah, but just think about how much excitement she brought to the Women's March Madness last year. Yeah. Like, it was insane.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our second video. I don't remember how to pronounce her last name. It's Emala Ekanobi or
Ekanobi, yeah.
Ekanobi. She used to be like a far left activist, and then she woke up one day and
said, like a Black Power tattoo, and she's like, I'm never going to cover it up because I want to remember where I came from.
But now she's more like center right,
and I do kind of fight with her in my brain too sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes we disagree with her, but there's other times I agree with her.
I think too, because she's so young, she'll spout out things, and I'm like, you're 24.
Yeah, one thing I kind of got into a debate with her about a while back. She was saying something about movies and how movies today are far more gross and graphic. I'm like, no. Have you ever? I told her, I said, you didn't see the movies from the 70s and 80s. Those are pretty graphic films. She's like, no, I don't think so. I said, no, I know what I'm talking about. I do this for a living.
He's like, I was there.
Yeah. So, but other things, she does have a pretty good head on her shoulders, and she's pretty balanced for the most part.
She's very intelligent, and she gets really good people to talk to, and so I like her. I think she's great. But I do sometimes disagree with her because not so much because of her politics. I think it's more because of her age when I disagree with her, because I'm like old and beaten down now, and she's so young and optimistic.
Yeah. But like the other day there was a group Zoom meeting or something between these white women and celebrities who were doing something and to get people riled up for Kamala Harris. They wanted to get behind her and have support. And of course they were doing the whole white guilt thing. And, we need to take our privilege and knock it down a little bit and make sure that we're getting everybody involved. Now, apparently some guys did the same thing. I have not watched this video, like even by itself. So I have no idea like what she's going to say about this, but it should be entertaining. And so again, if you guys have something you want to say, let me know. I'll pause it and so on.
I'm ready to watch this.
All right, let's go.
Harris in this campaign trail has been hosting segregated Zoom calls for people of different races and genders. She's already done black women for Kamala. She's done white women for Kamala. And she just did white dudes for Kamala. With black women, I think over 40,000 black women attended. With white women, over 100,000. With white men, over 50,000 white men signed up for this Kamala Harris Zoom call. And among them were several celebrities. We're going to watch some clips of what they had to say, starting with Josh Groban. Let's hear her.
And that when we talk about the fact, especially as a white guy, where it is so much easier sometimes to lean into the idea that, well, I'm going to be quiet about who I'm just a support. I'm going to, I don't have to go out of my way. When the world has been built for you, to say that Black Lives Matter, on the right, the idea that it doesn't mean that other lives don't matter. It simply means that it has been too easy to ignore the struggles of that community, to support the love and the rights of the LGBTQIA plus community does not mean that straight relationships do not matter. It simply means it has been too easy to ignore the struggles and
I already disagree so much with that. Like, just because I'm straight and white doesn't mean that my life hasn't had struggles. Like, she'll tell you, like I've dealt with depression and ADHD, which I didn't even really know I had. I mean, we suspected for a long time, but these guys like this really drive me nuts because it's like,
I feel like he's also pandering.
well,
like,
he's pandering, but then he's also trying to speak for an entire population of people.
He's
And
trying
it's
to be like, I'm cool white guy talking to all the minorities, saying
he doesn't speak for me. Like, this is my problem with this. Like, you don't speak for me. Why are you even trying to say I have more privilege than anyone else? I don't. There's plenty of people that are of color and different sexes doing way better than me. And it's not always been easy. Like, I'm not trying to dismiss, people of color or the gay and lesbian communities and all that, but
yeah, we're not. You're not trying to dismiss people.
those are also minorities for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, they're not the majority. And so when you take a majority, that means you have a majority of more problems for people. It's not the minorities. Like,
But
he's trying.
also, let's just put that into perspective. Like, everybody, majority and minorities, are kind of dealing with similar problems. So, like, trying to segregate people is also not the best way to go about
Well,
it.
that's
Like,
kind of like what this stuff feels like, because you're doing all these white things, and it's like, you're trying to endorse Kamala, but at the same time, it's like, why aren't you
yeah,
inviting?
why are you saying like white people for Kamala, black people for Kamala? Like, I feel like when you start doing that, everybody has an opinion, everybody has had struggles, everybody has a job, like, when you start really segregating things, it almost seems mean, and it seems pandering. Like,
Oh, it's so pandering.
Everything just seems to be separate.
Yeah.
why does it have to be?
I don't know.
And that's what's so funny, because the left keeps talking about bringing unity, but all they've already done is use division. Like, they want to blame the right for it, which there are parts of the right that.
Yes, there are. We acknowledge there are some extremists. I'm not saying there aren't, but
at the same time, like, the left is equally as guilty of this stuff. And this stuff like this is a good example of why.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, us as humanity, people in general, we all have similar lifestyles. We have similar struggles. Everybody is somebody's child, somebody's mother, somebody's aunt, uncle, etc. Like, when you start segregating people, saying, okay, this is, the white person's struggle, the woman's struggle, this struggle, and that's kind of like what he's saying. Like, I'm a man, and I'm finally realizing, like, the struggle and the what did he say? Like, the
Well, the other thing that gets me is that if you say all lives matter,
sorry, I was trying to think
if
about
you
it, the
say all
privilege.
lives matter, you're not dismissing anybody.
No. But like, what I'm saying is, like, this whole thing where she's like, white women for Kamala, white dudes for Kamala, black women for Kamala. Like, why would you even do that? Like,
Putting everybody in boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, again, we all have struggles. We all have kids. We all have friends. We all have families. We are all dealing with the same things. The idea is, if you have someone who's running for president, you want to have the same ideals. You want to have the same beliefs. So, like, is it just white women or black women or
Well, the thing that
white
frustrates
men
me is that
who have those ideals?
whenever they bring up Black Lives Matter or some of these other things like trans issues, it's like they try to make it sound like their issues are far worse than ours. And that's the thing that bothers me the most. It's like, you're not off worse than I am. You have different problems, but you're not off worse than I am.
Well, and that's the truth now in 2024. But if we would
That's all that matters. I don't care about anything.
But like in the past,
Yeah.
it's not true. Like,
Right.
And I think that's kind of like where all this comes from, is you look in the past and you see what the LGBTQI question, I don't remember all the letters, what they
I do the same thing. I do too.
All right, let's see what else he's
All right,
got.
what's he got to say?
Against
Come on,
those
Josh, roll it.
communities. And so it's easy to assume somebody else will step up. It's always easy, especially in the entertainment industry, to say, I'm going to step back. I am proud to raise my hand and to say that this is something that I believe so fully in. I'm so excited by the galvanizing of the Harris campaign. And I'm so grateful every single day to the people in my life and in the marginalized communities that educate me every single day, that this is a constant education for all of us. And so.
Okay, let's pause there. My goodness. To watch as the donation thing just keeps ticking up as he's talking about these horrible ideas. It just makes you want to cry a little bit. Oh, wow. You know, we've watched this on the white woman Kamala call, but it was a lot of just white people talking about what they owe other people and what they owe the marginalized groups in our society. Meanwhile, on like the black women call for Kamala Harris, it's just like, what are we owed? What are we entitled to? What is the work that we've done? And you see a lot of black people talking about, oh, another election that we have to carry and, you know, change the course of. When what? Like, what do you even mean by that? Well, with white people on these Zoom calls, and white liberals in particular, I should say, it's just like, how do we punish ourselves and exclaim this white guilt that we have to the world and make ourselves subservient to these marginalized communities because the world's been set up for us and for white men in particular.
Yeah, they want you to hate yourself, you know, whether you're attached to ancestry or not. From like, I know I have ties to, at least by name, ties to slavery back in the day, but as I've once explained to people, that I bumped into a woman years ago when I was working for a different company doing deliveries, and the cubicle, I noticed the couple times prior to meeting her that she had the same last name as I did, which is not that normal, not something you see a lot.
It's not a common last name.
So when I finally met her the one day, I dropped off her supplies and said hello, and I said, you know, I thought I'd be interested to tell you, you and I share the same last name. And of course, she's a black woman. Yeah. And she was like, no way. Let me see your license. So I said, okay, here you go. And she was like so ecstatic and so nice and so like interested in what, like that, how that happened. And so she apparently had done some ancestry work herself, just trying to find her own background and stuff. And she couldn't have been the nicest person I've ever met. There was no resentment. There was no like animosity because I was white. None of that. Like she was generally nice, and I was nice to her. Like I thought she was the sweetest person. And I told her, I said, I can only think I'm imagining is somewhere along the line, my bloodline mixed with a black line somewhere, because in Maryland, there's actually people with my name that are of black descent. So it's just how it is. But I don't have any issues, and no one's like ever given me shit about that I've met that has that name. And I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's crazy.
And we need to just, in a sense, punish ourselves, although that's not the way that they view it. These are the conversations that white people are having, and it's very interesting to watch as you've seen this narrative about whiteness really sink in for people. They truly believe there's like an internalized racism or an inherent racism in the way that they lead their lives because they've been born white. They truly think that the world has been set up for them, even though white people have their struggles just as much as black people do, just as much as LGBTQ plus people do. You can be white and LGBTQ. There's a whole healthy mix within all of that. But we've really placed ourselves on a hierarchy. And now you can sort of look at your characteristics and go, okay, I'm white.
Did you all notice that like maybe 5 to 10 years ago, where it used to be all white people were bad, like that was kind of the mantra, but then about 5 years ago it started becoming like just white straight men are the problem. Like everyone else is okay, white gay men are okay, but if you're a straight white guy, nope,
You're the problem.
You're the evil.
He's such a problem that our entire bridal party, minus a couple of people, are gay. We're gay. I mean, this is 2005, so but like, are we trailblazers because we like gay people and we have friends with gay people? No, we just like people for who they are. That's what people should be doing. Like, why are we putting labels on everything? Like, these were our friends and they just happen to be gay. Like,
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird. Like, again, it's like the whole like moving the goalposts. Like at first, it's all white people are the problem, but now we can't add in the trans or the gay community into that, because then we'd be just as bad as the white people. So now it's just straight white men are the problems. They had to narrow it down.
you are the problem.
I'm sorry.
You are the problem.
Yeah, you're the problem.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
And I don't understand it too, because you even see it in like media and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like they're starting to treat the dad, or the dad character in movies or commercials, just like they're idiots. And it's kind of mean. Like, the white dad, it can't figure out how to use the dishwasher, and they laugh and they kick him. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, don't you feel like, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but like, it's like white dudes are the easiest people now to make jokes about, because you don't want to make jokes about anybody else because you feel like you're going to get in trouble.
And it's okay, because it's white. They can make
I think
jokes.
it's white people in general. It's easy to make fun of.
Oh yeah.
But
And it's like okay to do it.
yeah.
Right? I mean, like, but let's go back to the 80s. Like, of course, I love Eddie Murphy and I love all his comedy shows. I think he made fun of like everyone, including Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Who's, in prison now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, let's just think about everything he made fun of: white people, gay people, black people, women, everyone.
Back when stuff was just funny. Like, you could just, and we said it before, like when people were complaining about the new Deadpool movie, it's like, they're like, oh, can't take your kids to this. Well, it's a rated R fucking film.
Rated R.
I mean, so
please don't take your children.
They tell
to
you
it.
parental guidance for a reason. So either you're gonna kind of lead your kid while you're watching this, or you're just not gonna take them. It's like, it's not that hard. You be a parent. It's not that hard.
Right.
Exactly. Okay, I'm straight. That puts me at the top of the totem pole, which means I really need to switch it around and start serving all of the people who are below me and do things for them. And now my life is about this like servitude to other people. And I just want to say, as a half black woman, to all the white dudes and maybe the white liberal men who are listening right now, you don't have to do anything for me or any other marginalized group. You can just lead your life, right? And lead a normal one. And you don't have to feel subservient because of some like weird, strange guilt that you have that really inherently tells me that you feel like I need your help. I don't need your help. I think we're good and we can lead our own lives. And there's a lot of LGBTQ plus people who feel the same way I do. There's a lot of fully black people who feel the same way I do, if that's who you need to hear it from. But I'm telling you right now, you don't have to like live your life in servitude of absolving yourself of this.
Well, not to worry about me doing it. I'm very hard-headed. That's not happening.
Well, for me, I have done a lot of ancestry work, and my people didn't come here until the 1900s, until like, when it was like the big immigration. So I have no ties to any of that. Now, I'm not saying it's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, to try to make me feel guilty about something that I have no ancestry with, I don't. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's horrible, but like, don't blame me for something that, if you go back 9 generations, we were in, not even 9, 3 generations. Hold on, I gotta count. Me, my mom, my grandma, my great-grandma was the first one here. So 4 generations. We just got here.
Same thing with me. It was
Josh
all the way,
Groban's not the
all the way
Sorry.
back, like around the same time. We were in Italy and we came here.
Italy
And-
too?
Yep. I forget where.
Napoli.
No, not there. It's a different
That's
name. I
me,
can't-
Napoli, Naples.
Oh, you?
Hmm?
What about you? When did your family get here?
Same time.
Yeah.
Like that early 1900s, as far as I know.
In
But
this
there's no-
house.
Yeah, in this house. Yeah, like when they got off the
Shut
boat,
up,
so to speak.
really?
Yeah, at this house that we live in has been in my dad's family for like generations.
It's 100 years old.
Oh, it was built in the 1800s, late
Holy shit.
1870s something, I think. The house.
Yeah.
Is it like all concrete?
No.
I mean, no.
It's
a lot of wood paneling.
I love
I
wood
mean,
paneling.
look behind you. Yeah.
I was gonna say like, oh, I see the wood paneling, but yeah, we have everything's like really old in the house and whatnot. But
Yeah, it needs to be updated, but
yeah, I
there's
have
certain
no.
times you could tell it's from 1870.
Yeah, I feel like I'm living at
The
sometimes.
cellar for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a
Oh,
cellar.
is
It's not
it-
even.
is
It's
it
not even a
very
basement.
cold and stone and
Oh yeah, it's like ground, like
It's
stone.
Evil Dead, the Evil Dead basement, basically.
Is it haunted?
Not that I know of.
Not that I'm aware of.
We've been looking at some houses because we want to move, and I found this beautiful house right on the water. It was great, gigantic, and it was unbelievably cheap. And I was like, either somebody was murdered here or it's haunted. I need to understand why this house, which is right on the water, is this inexpensive. Because it doesn't make any sense. And it wasn't even that old. I mean, it was built in the like 70s maybe, but like he didn't like it. He was like, it's okay. And I'm like, I love
seen
this
better.
house.
They never found out why it was so cheap.
No, because we didn't pursue it, but it was way too cheap for how nice it was.
It probably had like no plumbing or something in it, or
no,
like
everything
bathroom.
Everything was brand new. They had a beautiful, like, outside kitchen. They had this deck, a beautiful swing where you could look out into the water, outside shower. Like, it was beautiful, beautiful house. And I'm like, this house should be like close to $1 million, and it was like $425,000. And I'm like, why? Why is this house so inexpensive? There's got to be a reason. It might be a murder house, but we haven't explored it.
It could be.
Yeah.
One, Jeff Bridges was also on the call. Let's get him on the call. Here we go.
Oh my God, how old is he?
I
Is he crazy?
I can't hear myself, but that's okay.
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. So great to be here, Ross. I gotta laugh because I accepted the invitation. You know, I was brought to the party not so much as being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm a dude, you know.
The dude.
The dude.
Email today with your hat on there, and I said, "Oh, I gotta have one of those. I qualify, man. I'm white. I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris." So wonderful to be here, and I dug what you said, Maurice.
Are there going to be T-shirts that says "the dude for
that's,
Harris"?
That'd be great.
You know, terrific. The fact that you're here, you're a
Copyright
black
that
man
shit,
here with
so
us
we can
white
take his money.
guys. You know, I had no idea that this whole thing that we're up to was based on what? Black women for Harris, right? And so it kind of morphed into white men, white dudes for Harris. And I'm
Where does he
excited,
live
man.
that
I
his
think, you know,
internet
the fact
connection
that
is
Joe has
bad?
passed the baton so beautifully.
Now you think with the money he
and,
had.
He's going to be out in the middle
Kamala
of
is
nowhere.
just so certainly our girl, you know. I can see her being president. I'm so excited. A woman president, man. How exciting.
Oh, gosh. You know, I love his energy, and I love this sort of like cool, quirky grandpa thing he's got going on, but the things that he's saying are not great. Like the talk of these segregated calls for black women and now white dudes, and he's a dude, and he's also white, and he loves that a black man is talking to the white dudes, but also the first woman president, and let's not talk about who she actually is as a person, just the fact that she's a woman, and she.
That's the thing that I always like. I said this when Hillary ran. Like, I don't have a problem with a female president. It's just it has to be the right woman. Like, it has to be someone I can believe in. And like so far, anything the choices I've had, I don't believe in them. It's not to say I believe in Trump, but it's like I don't believe in Hillary. I don't believe in Kamala. So I can't see myself voting for her either.
Just because she's a woman.
Right, like that, and the problem is a lot of people will do that. They pick their tribes and they'll just do whatever, and I hate that because it just makes you like sheep. Like, think for yourself, you know.
Yeah,
they're supposed to serve us. We're the people, but you know, people are just sacrificing their integrity just to vote because of, you know, rather than what they should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a woman, so that makes it awesome. These things are concerning and they're not good. And when he says that Joe so beautifully passed the baton, do you mean he was running on the track with the baton and then he tripped and fell because of the dementia and then the baton
Joe
fell out of his
forced to
hand
fuck his
and then
foot
Kamala
down.
Harris just so happened to be
That's
there
true.
because she was a DEI athlete and then she picked up the baton and started running with it? Because if that's what you meant, then he very beautifully passed the baton on to Kamala Harris. So I'm not going to give too much heat to Jeff Bridges. You know, he's got a good energy about him, but let's utilize that energy towards something that isn't segregation in the name of a Democratic political campaign. And you know what? A lot of people say the party switched. Oh, the party switched so long ago, and you know that's why the Republicans were really leading the proper charge during the Civil War. And, you know, that's why Republicans at the time, you know, were fighting for, you know, civil rights. And then somehow it switched. And then it became the Democrats who were responsible for all these things. Baby girl, them parties never switched. And that's why you're seeing segregated Zoom calls in our year 2024 and things like affirmative action and DEI hires.
That's a really good point. Why is there segregated Zoom calls? Why does it have to be white men for Kamala and black women for Kamala? Like, how about just who likes Kamala?
You know, Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
But yeah, Kamala makes a good point. Like, why do we need to have segregated Zoom calls? Like, I mean, I get it because you're trying to
safe space.
Yeah, it's a safe space. You're trying to like get people. But why do you have to call it like white men for Kamala, black women for Kamala, white women for Kamala?
Because remember, they're promoting unity by doing that, which is not unity at all.
No.
That is bananas. Like
it is. It's ridiculous. Like, I just, again,
and I'm just
why people don't see this. Like, again, people like, it's so obvious. You know, I understand a lot of people dislike the other side, but when they're blatantly lying to you, like saying, yeah, we want to bring the nation together and unite. And then you have shit like this, especially from fucking Hollywood that lives in a bubble already. They don't live in a real world.
No,
they're not us average people. Like, and it drives me bonkers. It's like,
and I'm going to say this out here. This is not like we're bashing Kamala or saying we're pro-Trump. We're just like really surprised that this is the angle that Kamala is going with. This is not like we're bashing her, so please don't think we're being mean or anything. It's actual like shock that this is how she decided to go with her campaign, you know, in a very divisive way. You know, black women, white men, but was there not any black men for Kamala? Or isn't she like she is a mixed race? Like, isn't there like
so I'll tell you this much. Some of the YouTubers I've seen that are black men don't want to vote for her. I just saw this the other day. There's a big streamer named Kai Cenat who was asked by the Secret Service for Kamala to do a stream with him.
Really?
Because Aiden Ross did it for Trump. So Kai Cenat said he was getting all these calls from the Secret Service to do one with Kamala. He's like, no, I don't care about politics. I don't give a shit. I'm not doing it. And so, like, that was a big deal. Like, a lot of people were just talking about that. Like, this is a black man who just said, no, I don't know anything about her. Don't care.
He didn't want to get involved.
Yeah, it's not what he does. And so, but there's other like conservative black men who don't want to vote for Kamala. So it's like, I talked to some of my left-leaning friends and they're like, well, we're not really worried about that because for the most part, she is reaching the black vote. But I'm like, are they really? Like, we don't really know the numbers there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, because Trump was still able to get a lot of black votes in 2016, even though it didn't happen in 22 or 2020. In 2016, he was able to get a massive amount of like black votes. So.
Yeah.
So our area where we live has some of the largest Trump supporters. And we live in this little suburb outside of Baltimore City. Maryland is a very, very democratic like state. Like everything is very, very democratic. But where we live, there is this little diner. And in 2016 and in 2020, Donald Trump came to this little diner to meet with everyone here. So it's very interesting when you start thinking about like he knows where his bread is buttered, and I don't think Kamala does. I think she's trying to just like throw a net out there. Now, again, this is not a Trump thing, a Kamala thing, or any like pro con. I find it interesting that Kamala is trying to set up gigantic Zoom calls with people where Trump is he's been very
the issue that for Kamala right now is that like the other night she was talking, and I hate to say it, but kind of trying to talk in ghetto talk, which isn't really how she speaks.
I heard that.
And
in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, and so you have that, and then like the Kai Cenat thing. So I think she's trying to be hip when that's not really her thing.
Yeah, because she's a professional. She's a lawyer,
right?
So
like, it's
you don't need to be like
just be yourself. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like, why would you even do that?
She is a professional, educated woman.
I think they like to put the celebrities on here. My kids are crying. That's what I'm trying to like. But I think they put celebrities on just same reason they put them in commercials for like Benefiber. It's like, oh well, so and so takes it. I like them. It's like, you know, like Jeff Bridges is as nice as it sounded like with him. We don't know what's going on. He's like, oh, I know who Kamala. I don't even say her name right. No, I know who she is. I'm gonna go on the call and let everybody see me. And then, oh yeah, I remember Jeff Bridges. Oh, he supports her. Great. And we're not Trump supporters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think she's out of her league a little bit. I think she's got thrown into it, and she's kind of like finding her way, but she doesn't know how. Like a Zoom call, like with all those people. I mean, first off, Zoom sucks to begin with, and secondly, like if you have that many people, that had to have been like the worst Zoom calls in the world. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, everybody like chiming in.
Everybody trying to talk or like
everything.
Sending emojis.
I'd have to be like, I had to mute people. Like, nope. Man, somebody's unhappy. Is that a Kamala Harris fan that's unhappy over there?
He heard me say we don't vote for Trump, so
no,
I don't know. He wants mommy to come and sleep, and he won't shut the fuck up. So this
I be telling him like, if you don't go to bed, I'm gonna put a snake in your bed.
As I do. You see me? Shut the fuck up. My thread is Graham's not gonna make you pancakes on Sunday.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good. Mean, Tony.
That's good, Tony. Good guy.
That is really, really.
I'm really mean, and I will never hire women. That's how mean I am.
Tony, your poor kid.
Tony's gonna be like, I'm gonna get you a new mommy if you don't quit.
Lucky he's not a female.
She won't make you pancakes either.
Lucky that my kid's not a female. I'd make him sleep outside. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
You're going down to the cellar with the monster.
Under the fruit cellar.
Yeah.
Well, what is going on behind you?
There's a cat.
Oh, it is a cat. It's a void.
Neko got scared. Like there's something going on back there.
Oh, hi, baby.
It's a shadow person.
That's ravioli.
Ravioli.
Did you
All
make
right,
an
let's see
appearance?
what
Do you have
else-
linguine?
Because them parties, they never switched. Now the racism is just bubbling back up to the top, and we're watching it happen. Now, it wasn't just Jeff Bridges. It wasn't just Josh Groban. Lots of J names. I don't know how I feel about that. Sean Astin was also on this call.
Oh
Let's hear
no,
from him.
not
Audrey,
Rudy.
get the placemat out when you're with a kindergartner and you're looking at the placemat of the presidents. Not one woman. And the other
agree,
side, they try and take everything that's good about us and demean it. Kamala Harris smiles. She laughs. She dances. She has joy. She's alive. And they try and
But that doesn't mean she's
I was gonna say,
presidential.
does that mean she's a good president? I mean, she sounds like a great woman, but it doesn't sound like she is that.
Yeah, well, let's go. Let's rewind just quickly. Biden didn't do any of this shit she does, so they love Biden. He doesn't do any of that. I didn't see fucking Biden doing the jig on stage or anything. He shit his pants, but that's about it.
He falls down a lot. Maybe that counts.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamala sounds like she's a great woman, but I don't think her resume speaks to being a presidential candidate. Like, I mean, I don't even know why she was.
I honestly, I don't
vice
need
president.
I don't need a president to smile and dance and all that. I need them to do good policy. That's what I need them to do. That's it.
Yeah, it's like
And it doesn't mean she can't.
Trump
But
gets
like,
in. If Trump gets in, it's like fine, he gets in, but and I never think like, oh man, I hope he does shitty. Like I hope he does a good job.
well,
I
yeah,
hope
I mean,
everybody
for all of
does.
us, we hope
President
that, you know.
But
gets in
like,
does a good job. That is my MO. Any president that is elected, I want them to do a good job for the country.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
let's
want
think
that. I
about-
don't want them dancing. Like you don't need to dance for me, monkey. I don't want that.
No,
don't dance.
But she
smiles
smiles
her
too.
for that. And they
Yeah, well,
try
I
and
like that she
undermine
smiles.
us
It's fun.
for that. This is a serious person who can prosecute a tough case against people when she's in the Senate. Those are some of the most exciting moments during that awful time, was watching this senator take them to task. Kavanaugh and some of those other people that I watched her fully prepared for her moments.
Oh,
so exquisite with her use of language. Such seriousness of purpose
I love
that
the
she has.
whole, like,
oh my gosh. I don't know.
Star,
It's like
using celebrities
I
to
don't know
speak
what it's
for
like.
her.
It's like watching.
It's the worst thing. It's the worst fucking thing. Like, here's the other part of the problem is you got celebrities, and the only reason why they're doing it is because they know people will tune in for these celebrities.
Sure. Yeah.
If you were to get like 100 just regular white dudes, no one's tuning in for
Nobody
that. Even
cares.
though that's the way you should go, because that's the average person.
Yeah, you get some average white dude, and he's like, I'm for Kamala. They're like, I don't care. Jeff Bridges is for Kamala. Like,
Right.
If they
Yeah,
would get
it's-
100 like all men celebrities that are like not afraid to speak their mind, like if they put like 100 Michael Rappaports in the same room, that'd be interesting. But I don't care what Rudy has to say. You know,
oh, I do. I love Rudy.
I like him, but like,
Well, he's a good actor,
What did he
but
say
like-
that? What did he say right now that would swing you that way?
Well,
You know?
that's what I mean. It feels like they're using him. He's
They're
like,
pawns. That's all
yeah,
it is.
he's
They're
like a
pawns.
commercial.
Yeah.
As I said,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell you, not that it's a bad thing, but like they're trying to sell you the presidency, but they're not saying anything that would make sense. It's just like, oh, she danced, she smiles, she cooks pancakes on
smile
Sunday for her
sometimes.
kids.
I should be president.
Quick,
right?
somebody called Trump. You need to start smiling and dancing, baby.
All I
Then,
know
then,
is
then, then Sean Astin will vote for
Accordion.
you. You smile and dance.
We're gonna get Kamala Harris. We're gonna have the accordion in my hands.
Yeah.
Lots
There
of
you go.
accordions. People do good things with accordions. That was a terrible impression.
No, that was fantastic.
What are you
Actually,
doing?
you should
Keep
you should
going,
watch you should
keep
watch them
going.
doing Anthony Jordan. That's fucking great.
Him?
Frankly, I think
Yeah.
my impression was dog shit.
That's good. I liked it. I liked it.
Watching somebody like talk about somebody with maybe like special needs and like try to like play them up to the audience a little bit and like make them feel better. She dances and she giggles a lot, and I've seen her use really great language,
Sam
you know, and
Dainty or whatever
she's
his name
fully capable, and she's a woman. You know, look at the placemat. There's no woman on the placemat. Please. Let's be for real right now. Let's be so serious. Let's not talk about it this way. And the demeaning, condescending.
I wonder what Sean's comments were when Hillary was running, because she wasn't smiling and she was pretty fucking bitchy. So like, I don't know what can they make up their mind what they want out of this?
She had really nice pantsuits.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're just trying to make them, you know, like placemats and so like action figures and stuff. Like, let's put the first woman, you know, like I said, in a cartoon, and
I'm the first female president. Look at me.
yeah, like what are we?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
It was supposed to be Hillary, but it didn't happen.
Ending nature in which he's talking about Kamala Harris tells me everything I need to know about Kamala Harris. The fact that you feel the need to talk about her in this way just shows that she's not qualified for the job, and they may not recognize it at this moment, or they may be convinced that what we need is truly a woman at the helm of things. And you know what? I'm not opposed to the idea of a female president by any means. Just not this female president. She is not ready. And the smiling and the giggling that she's being bullied for or made fun of for, it's not because people hate Kamala Harris's joy or they don't want her to be happy. It's that she does these things in moments where it is uncalled for. She is uncomfortable. She lacks charisma. She's not really good at representing herself. She needs a significant amount of training, and it's training that she's probably undergoing now in this lead up to a campaign battle against Donald Trump. But she is not to be taken seriously on the world stage. Do you want Xi Jinping talking to Kamala Harris? Kim Jong-un talking to Kamala Harris? Can you imagine that? Vladimir Putin sitting down and talking to Kamala Harris.
Oh my God, dude. I that's a great point, because she's going to have to go talk to other leaders around the world. And like, could you imagine her even going against, you know, somebody in the Middle East or Putin, where like these guys don't really respect women all that much already. So
yeah.
You know, they're gonna probably be like, Putin probably like, I'm not meeting this chick. Fuck that. She's not allowed in my fucking office.
I saw Trump say, he's like, I met with Putin and he liked me and he doesn't like this group. It's like, I'm not saying Trump's the answer, but it's not a good thing either. Like when Putin likes you, you know?
Right.
But at least he, in a way, maybe he can, what's the word? If we need help with something or we have a problem, maybe you could settle it. I don't know. But then
the funny thing was, I remember when Trump won in 2016, there was some guys I knew who were upset. And the first thing they said was, oh, great, now we're going to go into World War III with Russia because, you know, Trump's going to do something to piss off Putin. And then when they got along and, you know, they were working together or whatever, then it turned to, oh, great, now he's in bed with the enemy. Like, it's like they couldn't make up their mind where the problem was for Trump. Like, they just kept switching around and flip-flopping.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of it is, if you give kind of like, this is, I'm on this side or I'm on that side, it really, you turn into the enemy yourself, right? Like, so why do you even say it? Like, we could be like, if you say one thing, like, I like something that Kamala said, or, oh, I like something that Trump said, it gets very divisive. So it's really interesting, like you were saying about the whole Putin thing, when he was working with Putin. Okay, he's friends with Putin, but I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't think it's even that. I think he just knows how to work the system. Like, you know, look, the dude is basically a reality TV guy that knows how to like play the game, and it's like, love him or hate him.
That's where it came from. Like, he's a businessman.
But you know, the other thing is that he everything you see from Trump is what he's going to give you. Like, so if he's an asshole, you're seeing it. Like, would you rather have a guy be a dick to your face, or would you rather have someone that's going to lie to your face and act like they're good, but they're actually backstabbing you? Like, what do you want?
But I also think too, because Trump has so much I don't want to say notoriety, but like exposure, that will hurt anyone who is running against him. Because, you know, we know Kamala she's a lawyer, she was vice president. Like, it's not like she's some kind of like chump.
Yeah.
But you've got Trump, who has all this exposure his entire life, and that really kind of plays into everything. And like DJ Anubis said, he's very much tell it like it is, right? Like, and Kamala is trying to play the game. So you have a person who does not give a shit, because he's like, okay, I have all this money, I don't give a shit if I win or not. And then Kamala is like, I'm playing the game, I'm gonna win, etc., etc. I'm gonna invite all these people to my Zoom calls. It's just very interesting. You see the two different strategies. Like, I don't know.
That is why people are talking about how she comes off, her personality, and she's not exactly leading the charge when it comes to strong female leaders. In fact, if the Democratic Party actually had a real primary where they would have picked a candidate other than Joe Biden, you can bet your ass it wouldn't have been Kamala Harris. But instead of asking ourselves why, we're hosting these white people, black people Zoom calls to support our own like self-delusion that she was somehow always meant to be a possibility when it comes to the next president and the next female.
Well, I kind of thought she would, because I didn't think, and I was kind of right, that Biden wasn't going to finish his term. That was the one thing I said when he got elected.
I did too. I honestly thought that it was going to happen when he first got elected, that because he was struggling back then.
Yeah.
And
he just
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, he just started like diminishing. That's the word. Like declining. Thank you. Declining as he kept going, and the last couple of years or so, like him talking to nobody on the side, and like, it was so embarrassing and so bad.
Tripping up steps.
I trip up steps. But he's old. He's an old man.
Right. He's an old man.
And Trump ain't that far behind.
Trump's only like 4 years younger than him.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought he would die.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I thought he would die, and Kamala would come in.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna declare, kind of like what they just recently did, declare him unfit.
Yeah.
And Kamala would come in. But I don't know if you guys are fans of the show Parks and Rec. And
I tried. I can't get into it.
So Joe Biden was a guest star.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. And he had the ability to read lines. And this is not that long ago. You got to think. I mean, you know, we're thinking current state, but maybe like 7 to 10 years ago, he was hip, fine, like, you know, given like kind of one-liners on a show. And you look at what's happening now, where he looks and he's kind of spaced out, and he's having a hard time with it. But granted, he is an older man. Like, these are not uncommon things that happen with older people, but like, he was much more equipped to be president when he was vice president, versus kind of like what happened the last 4 years, where he really was starting to decline. And when you see Joe Biden on Parks and Rec being kind of funny and quippy, and then you see Joe Biden now, and you're like, this dude has regressed so much, and it sucks because maybe he does have some kind of dementia.
Which is worse, because for a long time they kept saying, "Oh, he's fine, he's just sick, you know, got a cold." I'm like, no, dude.
But like, you look, I clearly can see the difference. That's why, like, and I mean, I know not everybody watches Parks and Rec, but he was on there and he was funny, and I look at our president, and he's not acting any way that he did, like, even when he was vice president. And you're like, what is going on with this dude? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, remember him when he was vice president? Him and Obama had like that bromance going on. Like they were funny together. Like they would like do. Do you remember that? Like they would do like things together.
They were like kind of like double gun pointing, like having a good time. And now you look at him as president, and it's almost sad. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Maybe being president was just so stressful. It just
look what
he's just like
on.
Well, if we're being honest, he just kind of rode Obama's coattails to this. Like once Trump beat Hillary, the only option was to go back to the well and try it. Because even though Obama couldn't go again, what's the next best thing, really? Biden. Like they had nobody else. And that's sort of what frustrates me a lot of times about both parties, because
there's probably some other younger Democrat who is
they're
just as
they're both just going to like, it's like there was a movie, I can't remember what it was, but I think Eddie Murphy was in it, and
of course
he was going to run for president or run for like some sort of political position, and they said, well, you don't want to go with your last name, you want to go with something that people recognize. So he just picked Johnson, and he was able to win, but it was like he was getting all these white votes and nobody knew he was black. So it's one of those cases where, like, you know, both parties are just going familiar names. Like Trump really had no business being back in the game, but the left could not help themselves because they kept talking about him. They kept trying to get him in jail. They kept trying to do this and this and this. I'm like, dude, if you would have just let the guy run off in the sunset, you wouldn't have to worry about
him. Go live in Mar-a-Lago and just leave him be. But I think you're right. I think he has a little vindictiveness in him.
Oh,
and
he does.
He's like, you know what, motherfucker? I'll be president again. So
now he's just pissed off. Like, it just annoyed him. So now he's going to go back and he's going to talk all this shit and get them all ruffled.
I just don't understand how he can run after all this shit. I know that it's people talked about it, you know, but like it's not like he went to he's guilty. He's guilty of all those counts.
All technicalities, Tony. It is all technicalities.
Well,
if you and I did any of that shit, we'd be
Well, the biggest thing is he was able to get the Supreme Court to put a lot of that under the protection of when it happened was under when he was president. So there's a sense of what do you call it? Immunity when a president. And so like a lot of people got mad and said, well, that's not right. I said, yeah, but you know, if this was Biden, you'd be saying the same. You wouldn't be saying that. You'd be saying that Biden is protected under that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because with, you know, his son and everything else, it's like,
yes.
You know, so that's the thing. Like, even though you might hate that rule, which I don't really like it, but it protects all presidents whenever they do stupid shit like that. Under that type of thing. The other thing was some of the stuff that he did. It's kind of the equivalent for me to like what Clinton did during his presidency with, you know, Monica Lewinsky and all that, where he had infidelity issues and, you know, it was inappropriate or whatever. But it's like the guy paid a chick, an adult star, not to talk about their affair. And it's like, personally, I'm like, dude, I don't think, why would you even worry about it at this stage? Like every freaking politician that's out there, usually men, are doing this shit.
There are people they pay off for quieter.
Yeah, but I'm just like, dude, it's just a porn star. No one, they might actually give you a high five. I wouldn't even like really be that mad about it, but it's like, I don't know. It just trying to like hide it was just dumb.
No, because what they did to get him in trouble is they tried to prove this is the thing. It's all very technicalities. They needed to prove that where the money came from was not from like his own personal pocket. It came from funds.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was business funds or campaign funds or whatever it was, and that's why he got in trouble. Like,
which you should have never worried about. I'd just been like, okay, say what you want. Okay.
But that's where they went into did the investigation. Like, clearly having an affair is not against the law, but using, you know, funds in an illegal way is not it is against the law. So I think a lot of people get hung up on those things too, like the adultery, they get hung up on the porn star, but what really, like, what they were trying to bring him down with is something that was against the law. And but again, like you said,
I just think there's
they
bigger
did not
issues to worry
they
about.
did
than
not
that.
dig
Oh, yeah.
deeply into the Clintons of all the bullshit that they did that was against the law.
They impeached Clinton, but
No, I'm talking about like in the 2000s.
right. But I'm
all
just
the
saying
shit that the Clintons
I thought when
did.
they went after Clinton, the right, I thought that was stupid too. I'm like,
I
really?
did too, because
Just for
that's
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so petty between them up there.
Yeah.
President. Got to put the emphasis on female, because instead of talking about characteristics that she has as a human being that really take her above the mark as far as becoming the next president, we just have to emphasize her gender and boil her down to that, because hopefully people want a female president so bad that they overlook the fact that this is the wrong female president to have. And Sean Astin is not alone either. We also have Josh Gad. This
I
one
knew
was
Gad would do that.
sad.
But I also happen to be a father of 2 girls. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. And
And I had no idea
I'm
he
not
was
sure if
straight.
you guys can recall
Unless he's not.
that feeling you had
I think he's gay.
on the night
I was
of
gonna say,
Tuesday,
you can have
November
kids if you're
8th,
gay, Tony.
2016.
Yeah, you can.
I stood over my kid's bed
Is he gay?
and I wept.
He may not be, but I was
I
all under the
didn't think
impression
he
he
was. This is the guy from Rocker, right? From the Rocker.
That and Beauty and the Beast, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like this guy.
I wept because I felt like I let them down. I wept because
He wept because he felt like
they
they let
had
them
the
down
chance,
as he's sitting in
and
front
we
of
had
palm
the
trees.
chance to have a female president.
He's clearly suffering.
I
His
think
life
he
is
is.
bad.
I see how he's suffering right now. He's
He
outside.
should try come living in my neighborhood.
Yeah, come live in our neighborhood where crackheads come up to your back door.
Yeah, just had that happen the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Then he can come talking shit about.
Oh
being
yeah, we had a
repping-
crackhead in our back
Yeah, it
in our
was nuts.
backyard,
Mhm.
which is why we're moving.
But I have privilege. Unlike that dickhead.
Again. My goodness.
And for the first time in our lives and in the history of this nation. And instead, we put a man in office who not only disdains women, but whose own wife can't look him in the eye, whose own daughters seem to want nothing to associate him, to be associated with him.
Okay. First of all, just imagine being his child. You're like sleeping and wake up and your dad is just crying over your bed. Because what? Because Trump got elected president. That is so strange. I even say this as somebody who was a leftist at the time that Trump was elected. Okay, right? I was a leftist. I was crying real tears when Trump was elected president. I would not, if I had a child at the time, have gone over my child.
I was actually laughing because I was watching the mainstream media when it all happened. They were all melting down. I thought that was the funniest fucking thing ever. Like, I didn't even vote for Trump. I thought it was fucking funny.
We voted for Johnson. We even had like our
Johnson.
we had our lawn signs and everything. We're very, very much
Libertarian.
The biggest thing for us, because we are libertarian, is that election was a big deal because all we wanted was 3% of the vote so that the Libertarian Party could be a real party. And it almost happened, but it didn't happen. But I find it funny that what she's saying, that he was crying over his children's bed when Trump was elected. Like, I didn't.
This is the thing that sorry to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say I can't. Like,
yeah, and this is the one area where I kind of agree with conservative men, is that you can be a sensitive man and an emotional man, but stuff like that, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. That shows a sign of weakness. That's a real massive weakness, because what you're getting upset about is something that's not in anybody's control. It's like the nation's control, like whoever they vote for. But you're worrying about shit like people, they go so over the edge. Like they think that if Trump gets elected again, the world's going to end. Well, they said that in 2016. The world kept going.
Yeah.
We're still going.
It's the same thing that I said, though. Like, regardless of who gets elected, I want them to do a good job. I'm not talking Republican or Democrat. I'm talking like the president of the United States. I would like you to put your best foot forward and do a good job. Like, I'm not gonna be an asshole. And if
But I tell people all the time, I'm like, even if Harris wins, like, it's going to affect my life a little bit depending on their policies, but at the same time, like, my life will go on. I'm going to have to keep going to work.
Yep.
We're going to keep trying to move. We're going to keep doing our shit that we do for years. Life goes on, man. Like, I can't my world won't stop if Harris becomes president.
and honestly, if she becomes president, I want her to do the best job that she can.
Sure.
I'm not one of those assholes who are like, fuck Kamala, fuck Trump. Like,
Not my president.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I want whoever is in that office. It's not an easy job. Let's be real. Like,
Sure.
I want whoever is in that job to put all their effort into being the best president they can. And I know sometimes politics is very, ancestral. I know that they have like little backside deals and stuff, but regardless, even if the person who is president is kind of a puppet, I want them to do a good job. And I'm pretty happy being American, right, Tony? You're okay with being American? Like,
Oh, well, we still got a lot of great things here, even though you have people saying that this country's coming to shit. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it's got some problems, but
let's like wish whoever becomes president, like, do the best that they can. Like, I mean, even if it's not the person that I think would do the best job, I want them to do their best job.
Yeah.
Bed to cry over them because of their presidential election. That is so very strange. You'd have to waterboard that information out of me if you wanted to hear that story, because what the hell are you doing? But apart from that, please, I want to ask Josh Gad, how do you feel now that you've gone through 4 years of a Trump presidency and you're on the other end of it? You're still super successful. Your daughters are still here. They have not been impacted in any way, shape, or form by the Trump presidency. So let me know what it is that you were crying about when he was elected. And again, the emphasis on the fact that Trump was elected over a female. Okay, nobody's talking about who the woman was. Nobody cares about the characteristics of Hillary Clinton. All they're saying is that, oh, it was our opportunity at a woman. These people, if this is the way you're voting, and you're just looking like, oh, white man, oh, woman, I'm going to click woman, you shouldn't be able to vote. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this idea. If this is how you're voting, you shouldn't be able to vote. There needs to be like some sort of test before people go to vote of like, who are these two candidates? What do you like about the candidate that you are going to be voting for? What do you dislike about the candidate that you are going to be voting for? And vice versa for the other candidate who you're not putting in a vote for. And if you don't seem to come off as literate in either direction here, you just shouldn't be allowed. If I was like the supreme ruler of the world, this is what I would instate, because this and the talk of Kamala is very, very concerning. Lastly, we have Pete Buttigieg on the call. Let's watch.
I'm so glad she has made freedom the theme of her campaign, because I think in so many ways that's what's at stake. And yes, women's freedom is Exhibit A. After Donald Trump demolished the right to choose. But of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Men are way more free to go around and hook up with as many women as they want and send them to the clinic after. Men are so much more free. I mean, he's right about that. Men are definitely freer in a pro-choice America. You guys can run around and F-boy it up anywhere you like and give her a handful of cash at the end of it and send her to the PP, the Planned Parenthood, to go and have a grand old time.
Kamala is incorrect.
I think she's being sarcastic.
She's being sarcastic, but to put this out, the
ever since Roe versus Wade was overturned, they overturned it not in a way to eliminate women's rights, but they gave it back to the states to make these decisions. So her just being like, oh yeah, we're just going to go get an abortion, that's really not fair. Like, there are some states that are really, really anti-abortion. So don't just kind of be like sarcastic like that. It's, you know, it doesn't matter right now because it's never going to be the way it used to be because Roe versus Wade got overturned. So it's going to be like what your state dictates. That's why it got overturned, is they decided it was a state's decision, not like a federal decision.
Can't that change it again at some point, though?
No.
Never?
I mean, I guess maybe
Because if it was one way for so long, I mean,
I guess maybe if somebody like brings it to
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say nothing lasts forever. Like, we go through these cycles where, you know, laws are changed or passed.
So this is why I think it was overturned, because it was done back in the 70s, and they decided that when they brought it to the Supreme Court, it was not a justifiable Supreme Court decision, because most Supreme Court decisions are not made based off of something like that. Most of the time it's based off of like issues dealing with federal problems, dealing with two states having issues, like if you have two laws that are coinciding. So that is why they overturned it. I get it. Do I agree with it? Nah, not really. I mean, like, but so that's why they said Roe versus Wade is overturned and abortion is a state's thing. So like her being like, okay, we're a bunch of fuckboys and we're just going to go get an abortion and that's how it's going to work. No, that's not like the way it works, because they're acting like just because a Democratic person is in power, they're going to be able to get abortions. That's not true. It's over. It's now like,
well, that's kind of like the conservative part of that, because like the guys from whatever podcast, they're the kind of guys that would say whenever that kind of topic comes up, they're pretty much saying, oh yeah, well, guys are just going to be like that. You just have to accept that they're going to get girls pregnant and stuff, but they're not really responsible in any way for that. Like, it's the girl's job to do this, and this. I'm like, are you fucking insane?
I know, right?
And that's unfortunate that people think like that, because but those two idiots, I expect that
they
from.
are idiots.
But you know,
They don't even because she was talking about voting on a whatever podcast. They don't even think women should be allowed to vote.
Oh yeah, well, have you ever seen chick Pearl?
The movie?
Just Pearly Things.
Her name's Pearl, and she does like a podcast called Just Pearly Things. And she's an ultra conservative chick. Yeah, she's very much in favor of women not voting. Going back to that,
She's very much in favor of.
she's very submissive with the men. Like, even though she doesn't have a boyfriend, I don't think. But yeah, she's a terrible person.
aside from all that, and aside from your own personal choices when it comes to abortion, and it's a particular issue that I find myself conflicted with anyways, this white dude's call for Kamala Harris just points out all the same issues that the white women called in, all the same issues that the black woman called in. And we're here. There's going to be more calls after this. I don't know what's next. Is it like Indian women for Kamala Harris? Is it Hispanic women for Kamala Harris? Is it white non-binaries for Kamala Harris? There's got to be more. We got to hit all of the different superficial identity characteristics to really make this work and to really raise money. And speaking of raising money, they have raised, I think, over $20 million on these different Zoom calls as they've happened. Don't quote me on that.
I guarantee, though, most of those come from those Hollywood elites. Guaranteed.
Sure.
That fact check me, but I know it's well over $10 million for these different race-based, gender-based Zoom calls that they're doing. So this is concerning. that not only do we get to watch as these bad ideas are espoused over these huge 1,000-person Zoom calls, but we get to watch as the money bar just goes up and up and up and up and up. And of course, the white women raise the most money because typically women are responsible for the proliferation of these awful ideas at a rate higher than any other demographic. And there's no liberal like the white woman liberal, really, to tell you who.
I mean, this is just kind of
That's
like
pretty much almost over. So
it's an off the cuff kind of question. Like when it was like the Democratic primaries and stuff, we voted for Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Kamala was not voted in during the primaries, but they just like popped her in because she was like part of the ticket. I wonder how like people who are very democratic and they're very like, okay, are they angry that she just automatically kind of got put in there? What if it was something like, remember how popular Bernie Sanders was? And he had like a huge chunk of people. Like, what if there was someone else who had like a large majority of other voters, and it's just like, okay, well, he never got a chance, but Kamala has a chance because she was vice president. Like, how does that work? I don't know enough of how that works because Joe Biden dropped out so late. Because
it does come down to the money thing. I can't explain it. There are guys that I know that follow politics way closer than me that can, but this one thing I kept bringing up is that I would love just every time that the Americans go to vote that we had 5 actual choices. I want to have 5 nominees that debate the entire year that we have the election or whatever. It doesn't have to be like all 4 years. They don't have to campaign all 4 years, but let's say you get down to the last year. Let all 5 candidates go campaign, give them the same amount of money. No one has more than the next. That's equity. Let them go and campaign for themselves.
So what? No donors?
No. Wherever the money's coming from, like,
Well, the money comes from donors.
then we need to do away with that and just have it dispersed, like somehow get it from the government or whatever, but the same amount for each candidate. Let them fend for themselves in terms of like how they're going to campaign, how they're going to use that money, if it's for ads or whatever. And then come time to vote, you have them all on a ticket, and whoever has the most wins. Like, I know you still have the electoral college and stuff, which still plays a part, but at the end of the day, like, we don't have enough choices. We're stuck with 2 people that aren't very good for this country. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's too limiting.
Yeah.
So if we have 5 choices, and I don't know, let's pull up Gabbard's name by chance, and she's just one of these other chicks that was trying to think about maybe running. Let's say she's the one that ends up winning, even with like a 40% vote compared to the other ones. The other ones are underneath that. Well, then that's who we got. Like that, I think that's fair. Like if it would have been the 3, when we did in 2016, if somehow Johnson had won, then that's who we go with. But we're so afraid to break up the vote so much. I just want it to be on, one or the other. And it's like, it just hurts this country.
You're right. Because again, when we were voting for Johnson, we were trying to get 3% so that the independent vote would have its own party.
Yeah.
That's all they wanted.
Mhm.
And remember, we even like registered as independent, and after that we both got new voting cards that said you're unaffiliated because the independent party does not exist in Maryland. And that was like, he makes a good point. Like, it's like everybody has to pick the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's like we're just all just settling for these candidates and not really enforcing how we want it to be. Like, it's not just, and I get it because it's really up to us American people to kind of dictate this, but we're not doing it. we're just being lazy. We're not.
No, it's all politics. It's all business. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Tony?
You think that, like, when you said about the money, that like we shouldn't get it from like donations and stuff?
Yeah,
Just
that's Scotty's
use
idea. He thinks
their own money.
no, he's thinking like everybody gets like
No, I think
an
that
assigned amount of money, and
Yeah.
that's all you get.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, if you're saying like, oh, people should use their own money, then that's putting dangerous. Like, we already got Trump. Then
Yeah,
what,
no.
Kanye runs with his money,
Billions of
and
dollars.
And that's
okay.
but see, that's the reason why people like Trump are able to do what they can do. They have all that money.
Right.
So now we just don't do that. We just say nope. And if you get caught doing it, you
Here's
can
your
never
budget.
run.
Your budget is
Yep.
$2 million.
Yeah.
Do with
what
it as you
can.
please.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I get that
And
now.
it
I thought
doesn't
you meant
matter,
like, because I thought there's gonna be a lot of celebrities running for president.
No.
You know
Well,
what?
yeah.
That's okay.
And that's fine because
Give us 13 choices. We could all just laugh at them.
If people want to believe in a particular celebrity, I mean, fuck, Ronald Reagan was an actor, did it.
Yeah.
We have a real, reality show guy in Trump doing it. So if people want to believe in that, then great. But I don't want it just to be him and one other person. We need to have more options, and so the nation needs to have more than one option.
Yeah.
So that's just how I look at it. It's like,
It's true though.
just-
Like, even when Biden and Trump were in, it's like, which geriatric do you want?
right.
That's how it was.
Yeah. And I don't know. Things need to change, man. Of course, I'll probably be dead before they do, but
yeah.
You know, I think we are all getting close to that old man screaming at the clouds age right now. And we're all like, back in our day, we didn't lock the doors. I hear my parents say that, especially because I live in Baltimore and drugs have taken over Baltimore so terribly. You see the problems, but
yeah.
I think all of us, we just we say the same thing. We're like, oh, we have this dude or this dude or this dude and this chick, and it's how do you make a bigger impact, like in politics, especially at the federal level, like as a president? I don't know if a president would impact us in our day-to-day. Like,
no, there's always some like effect somewhere, like, even if it's minor, but in the end you still move on. Like the election cycle always goes back and forth. Like I've noticed it for years. Like, you can go maybe 1 or 2 terms with one particular party, and then they get sick of it, and then they go back to the other side of the party because they don't like what's happening on the left or right, and then vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, okay, everyone's panicking about Trump, so the left, of course, is going to try to get another left person in there. But even if it doesn't happen, Trump comes in and he can only serve one more term anyway, so he'll be out. But then it's going to be a fight for what's after him. And so, but it never, like, it's not like we've gone 4 decades with one party. Like, it's never been that way. We always go back and forth. That's just how it is. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got for today.
Except Obama.
Well, Obama went 2 terms, and so did Bush Jr. I mean, but I'm saying is, like, it's not like we went from the Reagan era till now with nothing but Republican presidents.
Oh no,
like
yeah.
It's always gone kind of like you went from George Bush Sr. to Clinton to George Bush Jr. and then of course Obama. So it's always been like cycles.
Yeah, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have.
Is it me? Like, I always think this back when I should say when me and Neko were young. Well, she's only a little younger than me. She's the baby of this group. But like,
I'm 29.
You're not 29.
I'm 29.
Okay, she's
She
29.
is. She's 29, 100%.
Yep. But like,
That's 21.
Neko and I are the same age. And so, like, do you remember being little and like nobody really talked about their politics? It was all like, I ain't telling you who I'm voting for, because, and now it's just, I know there was always stuff on lawns here and there, but now it's like
Oh,
everybody.
it's everywhere.
You wear
And
it like a badge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like you
that's the
vote
one-
for
that
Trump.
that shit actually annoys the shit out of me because I see trucks and cars and they got all these stickers. It's either Biden or Trump, and I'm like,
People put it on social media.
I'm like, could you imagine? Like, I knew I can't. Like, I love my car too much. If I try to put Trump stickers, probably people be keying the shit out of my car. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
I'm not doing
not.
all that.
We live in Dundalk. Maybe not.
We know a guy who has like Trump stuff all over his car, even his license plate.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's what does it say? It says
Is that MAGA or whatever?
Oh my God.
24.
MAGA 24. There's like stickers of Trump all over. It used to just be the license plate.
Yeah.
Which that's not his license plate. It has something to do with Trump. I'm not giving his license plate out. But I shouldn't have said it. But he does have stickers all over the place. He's like one of those people. The first one is like, I'm more MAGA now than ever.
Oh,
that kills me. That whole.
And like he's a nice guy and everything, but it's just like.
But it's like it's
that's your whole personality.
Yeah, it's
like
become
that's
a personality.
kind of shitty.
Yeah.
You're right, because Tony, you're right. Just think about when we were kids, like nobody talked about who they were voting for. Nobody made a big deal about it. And Shauna, you're right too, because now it's everybody's
else, Shauna?
personality.
Shayna.
Who's Shauna?
Shauna?
Oh, it's okay. Everybody messes it up. It's okay.
It bothers me more than it bothers her.
I'm just honestly so used to it. I'm just like, no, sorry. It's okay.
After the show, we'll try to have you say her last name.
Oh God.
I didn't say your last name, but I'm not saying it all now.
No, don't say
Well,
that.
I do want to remind people that watch this that Mr. Tony there and I have a new show segment that we're doing.
Oh no,
every
really?
Wednesday.
Really? The two of you? Trouble. The two of you.
We are Trouble with a capital T. Our show is called
Trouble with a capital T.
Oops, I can't show it here, but
you gotta take us away.
No. I think I can do it over here.
You can do it, buddy. You
Not
got
so much
this.
here, but over
But
here.
You can do it, right?
But I had it on two different spots. But
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'll show
We're
you.
all it's black background.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
The show's called The Ghouls of Midnight.
Yep.
And our next, you and I actually
We
watched
watched
it.
it the other night.
Mako actually really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had seen this film. I did when we started watching. I did recognize it. So,
okay.
But we'll review it and give our thoughts. We did a movie the other day.
You were watching it, and I was like, okay, so I don't want to give the whole spoilers or whatever. I was like, this is some real Lord of the Flies shit going on right now.
Yeah. It's not a horror movie, but it's definitely a situation kind of type of thing.
Yeah, it makes you
I never
think.
saw it, but I should make you watch it.
There's a lot of things I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know. I'm bringing
Why?
a
He's
lot of
not-
things to light.
It's not like he doesn't have any
See what's
movies.
behind you?
I know, I
Like
have
you could
nothing to
pick
watch.
any movie.
I have nothing to watch. Right.
We unfortunately we watch not unfortunately, but we either can't have time or pay attention to a movie together, or we just put on the Golden Girls.
Well, just look at it to keep walking away every 5 seconds.
Yeah, like
I can't even do a recording because I gotta
be mom.
be mom.
Mom.
Well, The Golden Girls is actually a great show.
That's like my
Fucking A.
favorite show.
That's if it's like what I don't know what to put on. Just put on Golden Girls.
And you've seen them like 1,000 times. I like just the beginning. I know exactly what episode it is just based on the first like 5 seconds.
Yep.
Like, oh, I know, but I still sit there and watch it and laugh.
Yeah.
See, I need to do a deep dive on the Golden Girls because I haven't done it in a while. Like I do a
Because you
rewatch.
watched the other ones so many fucking
I
times.
know, but like I rewatch Seinfeld all the time, and
Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched
Like,
Golden
her
Girls.
big thing is Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I
man.
love
Every
Gilmore Girls.
single
I've never
time.
seen that.
Never saw it either.
Oh, she'd probably love it.
You know, there's parts of it that anger me, but there's also parts that are like really endearing. So
Well, Mr. Tony, you have anything else coming up that you're going to be doing at all, or?
No, I'm just our thing. I was starting to edit that before this, so it'll be up as soon as it's just I've been out of it, and these kids are kids.
They're kids.
Yeah, so it'll be up. I'll be making an intro or a thumbnail and all that stuff. So I'm just out of it. I haven't done it, So that'll be going on as soon as my Severin package comes in, because well, it's already technically here, but like it's a short story. The box set contained 2 of the same movie in it, which I have no idea how that happened. So they're sending me the one that's supposed to be there. So as soon as that comes in, it's on its way here now. As soon as that comes in, I'll be doing an unboxing of that.
So
And
is
then
there
other
like
things.
multiple DVDs and stuff in there?
Yeah, like
2 of the same one.
Like there's 4 total, but 2 of them are the same. Yeah. So they're sending me the one that's not the same. So I have an extra copy of one of them.
Only you.
It figures, right? And it was sealed too. So
It was sealed with the 2.
Oh my
the double,
goodness.
yeah.
Somebody just had an oversight.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens with those boxes because, like,
Well, they sent me 2 of the same Bridget
that's right.
Leahy
The-
books.
the-
I sent one to Aaron Penn.
Oh yeah.
we got the DVD, but then they sent 2 of the books.
Yeah. Well, for those watching, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Please go to this man's channel, subscribe and like that channel, please.
Thank you.
You two will hang around for a moment after we're getting off. We'll say our goodbyes and love yous and all that. For the rest of you, just remember, whenever you're talking about global unscripted and social issues, just remember.
Besides, there's no reason we can't be civil.
Right.
All right. So for the rest of you, thank you very much. We'll see you next time on the Military Radio Podcast, and have yourselves a great weekend.